Joining us now from New York is spokeswoman at American Values PAC, Caitlin Sinclair. Caitlin, it is great to see you. Let's start with health. Dr Jay Bhattacharya has been confirmed by the Senate to lead the National Institute of Health. Now, in 2020, he was a leading voice during the COVID pandemic, really speaking out against lockdown measures and vaccine mandates. It's amazing that 4 years ago, he was on a COVID blacklist on Twitter, and now he's leading the NIH. It just shows that Trump's administration is part of a revolution.
Absolutely, Gab. This is not only a revolution, this is an entire movement. The golden age of health is truly upon us. And I think this is just a microcosm. This confirmation is just a microcosm of what's happening on such a larger scale right now. Talk about a full circle moment, as you alluded to. 4 years ago, this is a man that was censored. He was blacklisted to the highest degree. And he had his reputation completely ruined by the Biden regime. And now he'll be overseeing the most critical agency in our government, I'll argue. So this is a huge win for medical freedom in this country, for the MAHA movement, but really for every American who has suffered at the hands of big pharma and big health.
Absolutely. So what can we expect with him in charge going forward?
Well, I think the real truth to this story, or the real story here, is that 0 Democrats voted to confirm this man. So you have to ask yourself why. We can expect him to take down big food, to be part of the disruptors that you and I have talked about before, right? Disruptors that include an Elon Musk, a Tulsi Gabbard, a Kash Patel, and take down big food, take down big pharma, actually deliver answers to the American people that they want to know about. Questions on our food supply, questions on medical tyranny and medical freedom. And you have to ask yourselves, why did 0 Democrats vote to confirm this man? 0 Democrats voted to confirm the man that was the only one standing up against the COVID-19 lockdowns, standing up against vaccine mandates. Why did 0 Democrats vote to confirm a man who pledged to get to the bottom of Americans' healthcare system, to the bottom of Americans' skyrocketing autism rates, our chronic disease epidemic? That's what we can expect from this confirmation. And I think the American people are long deserving of these answers.
Says a lot about the Democrats, doesn't it? Now, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has cancelled $11.4 billion in funds allocated in response to COVID. So the health department says that the COVID-19 pandemic is over. Yes, it is. And the HHS will no longer be wasting billions of taxpayer dollars responding to a non-existent pandemic that Americans moved on from years ago. The HHS is prioritising funding projects that will deliver on President Trump's mandate to address our chronic disease epidemic and make America healthy again. I think it makes a lot of sense that $11.4 billion in taxpayer money was finally cancelled. What more can you tell us?
I think the time is up, right? This is an administration that is talking about bringing up the receipts, right? I don't know why Doge wasn't all over this already, but billions of dollars handed to bloated health departments, big pharma, while Americans have been moved on and struggling. Not only have they moved on for this pandemic, but they've been struggling for years. So this was a total scam from day one. And like I said, I think time is up now, and this administration has already delivered on their promises to show us how bloated and disruptive and corrupted our government agencies are. The mass poisoning of our children is about to be exposed, Gab, and I think that's what the American people are looking forward to. The truth of our skyrocketing rates of chronic disease are about to be exposed, and the truth about where our government has been spending all of our taxpayer dollars is about to be revealed. And this administration, like I said, has the receipts, and they're not afraid.
Caitlin, I want to talk to you about fluoride. Dr. Anastasia Whitman has been on the Andrew Huberman podcast explaining where the fluoride that goes in the water in America, where it's actually coming from. Take a listen.
Where are they getting the fluoride?
The fluoride that they get is a byproduct of the phosphate fertilizer industry, and it's called hydrofluorosilicic acid. So as a byproduct of the phosphate fertilizer industry, it's considered a hazardous waste, and it's very expensive to dispose of. But they have found that if diluted, in theory, and it's an acid, first of all. So if it's put into our water system, it is so diluted that it becomes safe. But I will say, everyone can go research this and look at themselves, but it does come in like cement bags with skull and crossbones on the front, and they do have to wear hazmat suits to put it into our water.
We know that RFK Jr. has vowed to remove fluoride from drinking water. How is he going to be able to actually achieve this?
I think he'll be able to achieve it because this was a mandate from the American people on November 5th. I think we're at a tipping point in this country right now where the power gap is finally shifting back to the people. And the Maha promise is very clear. We are here to end the mass poisoning of our children, to eliminate harmful additives from our food and from our water supply. And that includes fluoride. I think that's how RFK Jr. will be able to deliver on this promise. We want no vaccines in our meat and our food. We want no fluoride in our drinking water. We don't want chemtrails preventing us from looking at the sun. We don't want pharmaceutical commercials. We don't want Bill Gates involved in our food. We are on the verge of a true golden age in health right now. And I think that is how RFK Jr. and all of these disruptors are going to be able to deliver on this promise from the American people. How scary that fluoride is really a byproduct of an industrial process that we don't even really know. It could be harmful to all of us, to our thyroid and fertility as women, potentially causing neurological disorders in men. It's a conversation that is long overdue. And for all of the people in this movement, I think we're so grateful that it's happening on a national stage now.
Absolutely. We need that conversation, and we should be grateful that it is finally happening now. I want to talk to you about this Signal scandal. National Security Advisor Michael Waltz has assumed full responsibility for the leaked Signal group chat of senior Trump officials that discussed plans for a strike on the Houthis in Yemen. Here he is on Fox News.
I take responsibility. I built the group. Okay. So but look, that's the part that we have to figure out, and that's the part that embarrassing, yes. But Pete and I are veterans. We know these operations. He has been an excellent Secretary of Defense, and this was an operation that, I mean, it amazes me. I guess the Democrats were fine to leave all the sea lanes shut down. We're fine to have destroyers fired on dozens of times by this terrorist group, and fine to have Iran keep supplying them missiles. That was okay. The president takes decisive action. And now we're seeing some real success in taking down their air defenses, opening the sea lanes, taking out their leadership. We don't want to talk about that. We want to talk about this.
Yeah. The Atlantic has revealed even more text messages from the Signal app overnight. This has, of course, been a pretty huge story, but it has been interesting to watch the media go into meltdown over it. On CNN, Ashley Allison seemed to be shocked that J.D. Vance put in writing that he hates that America has been bailing out Europe. Look at this.
Ain't Europe pathetic in those messages?
Calling Europe,
our allies. Our allies.
They say that publicly. I mean. Well,
there was that.
Are you under any illusion that we're out here telling Europe how great they are as a public matter? There is a standoff going on right now between the president and the vice president and the leaders of Europe about what they need to be doing to secure their own countries. And by the way, they're right. They do need to step up.
Look, it's been really interesting to watch everyone react to this. I find it fascinating that what these messages show, it shows the world and people in America exactly what US leaders are like. What do you make of it all?
I think there's a few factors to this story. And of course, the mainstream media, they have been having a field day with this story. I think it would be easier, and I think the right thing to do for the Conservative Party is to come out and say, I messed up. Adding a loser journalist to a group chat where you're discussing matters of the sorts of our country and intelligence information was shared, or whether or not it was, accidentally adding a reporter to a group chat is regrettable.
Absolutely.
And the better message out there for the American people to hear is we messed up. Instead of saying today we are launching a full investigation into how this could have happened, you added the wrong dude to a group chat. Unless there's something nefarious here that we don't know yet, I think it would be easier on the American people as far as a trust factor to just come out and admit that you did something wrong. On the mainstream media front, though, Gab, are we really supposed to believe that Democrats and the mainstream media all of a sudden are concerned about leaks from the government, about leaks about classified information? James Comey is a leaker. Lovely Hillary Clinton weighed in on this. Classified information on a private server come on. I mean, all of a sudden we believe Democrats care. They let Eric Swalwell actually sleep with a Chinese spy and continue to work for our government. So I'm not buying it. I think they should save their liberal tears for somebody else. I don't think the American people are buying that. Again, separate factors to this story. We should admit wrongdoing. What was the mistake that was made, again, is regrettable. How the mainstream media is handling it and pretending to care, I don't think anyone's falling for that.
Yeah, it's been really interesting to see failed presidential candidate Hillary Clinton weighing in on this, tweeting, "You've got to be kidding me." She's getting slammed for the hypocrisy. Of course, she was called out for her use of a personal email system during her time as Secretary of State, as an investigation found it was used to send and receive messages which contained classified information. Now, we've also heard from Pete Hegseth. He posted online, so let me get this straight. The Atlantic released the so-called war plans, and those plans include no names, no targets, no locations, no units, no routes, no sources, no methods, and no classified information. This only proves one thing: Jeff Goldberg has never seen a war plan or an attack plan, as he now calls it. Not even close. As I type this, my team and I are travelling to meet with commanders, the real guys who make real war plans, and talking to troops. We will continue to do our job while the media does what it does best: peddle hoaxes. We've also heard from White House spokesperson Caroline Leavitt. She's spoken about the issue, reminding the mainstream media that the Biden administration left 13 service members dead in Afghanistan and not a single person was held accountable. Take a listen.
We are not going to be lectured about national security and American troops by Democrats and the mainstream media who turned the other cheek when the Biden administration, because of their incompetence, left 13 service members dead in Afghanistan, and not a single person in the previous administration was held accountable for that botched withdrawal. Joe Biden said, in fact, it was a great operation. That is despicable. It's unacceptable to this president and this Secretary of Defense. The National Security Advisor has taken responsibility for this inadvertent number being added to the messaging thread. But above all, we take the lives of our troops, safety, security, prosperity around the globe with the utmost seriousness.
Caitlin, what's your assessment of how Caroline Leavitt has handled this?
I think she's handled this eloquently and beautifully. I think the answering to the mainstream media every day at that podium is a pretty tough job. And the hypocrisy, as she outlined and as I just alluded to, somebody was possibly forging Joe Biden's signature for months, covering up for his mental decline for maybe years. And no Democrats and no members of the mainstream media cared that we had a senile president for 4 years. So my message, and it seems like Caroline Leavitt's message to the mainstream media and to those reporters in the briefing room, is please spare us your manufactured group chat tears, because we know they're not real. Now, I think we have to see what this investigation yields. Again, if there's anything nefarious going on, and we don't know those details yet. The American people deserve to hear those, to get those answers. So we have to see.
Absolutely. Spokeswoman at American Values PAC, Caitlin Sinclair, thank you so much for joining us on Power Hour. Great to talk to you.
God bless.